We know that pods in Kubernetes enclose containers. Let's just stop for a moment to think about where those containers come from. The short answer is, before we can use a container from within a pod, we've got to create our container image, typically a Docker image, and push it into a container registry. Recall that the manifest which we use to create the pod has an image property. That image property is going to support the same syntax as the Docker command. This will also allow us to make use of private registries as well as tags. Now, clearly, if we are going to pull images from private registries, we might require keys or some form of authentication in order to do so. And this varies based on the type of container registry that we are pulling from. If we are using Google's container registry, then we might find that we are automatically set up to use this container registry provided we are running our Kubernetes cluster on the GCP. In such cases, all pods can go ahead and read the project's private registry. If we are hosting a Kubernetes cluster on AWS, in exactly the same manner, we can make use of the AWS EC2 container registry or ECR. This will automatically happen based on IAM roles and policies. Similar rules will apply to the Azure container registry as well. Each of these options was pretty easy to use out of the box because of support provided by the corresponding public cloud provider. If we are not making use of a cloud registry provided by one of these public cloud providers, then things get a little more complicated. Here we have three more options. The first option is to configure all nodes to authenticate to a private registry. Because this is happening at the level of the node, all pods can go ahead and read any configured private registries and pull all images from them. In this option, we are going to need to configure the nodes appropriately for this to happen. A second option is pre-pulling images. Here, all pods in our cluster can go ahead and use any of the images which have been cached on our nodes. This requires root access to all of the nodes during setup. And a third option is to specify image pull secrets at the pod level. In this option, only those pods which provide their own keys can access the private registry. So in summary, there are different mechanisms available for getting containers into pods. If we make use of the container registries provided by the public cloud providers, things are pretty simple. If we are not using one of those public cloud providers registries, then things get a little more complicated.